Just because you can name the pattern from a TikTok video doesn't mean you're doing the actual work. You're hiding behind vocabulary. Calling it my attachment style doesn't erase the harm. Saying I was triggered doesn't absolve what happened after. Knowing the label doesn't cancel the impact. That's not healing. It's laundering bad behavior through better words. Welcome to Two-Punch Combo Motivation, where the talk is real, the nonsense is non-existent, and the discipline to succeed totally depends on you. Today we're talking about how therapy language became a digital get-out-of-jail-free card. And before we get into this shit, let me be clear. Struggles with mental health are real. I'm not minimizing or speaking negatively about real struggles. I got my sights on the people who hide behind said struggle to excuse their shitty behavior. And yes, I'm speaking from personal experience. Let's start with what's hot on the socials. Attachment theory. John Bowlby studied how early relationships shape expectations. His research explains tendencies, not permissions. It never said you get to lie. It never said you get to manipulate others. It never said you get to punish people emotionally. Attachment style describes risk, not moral exemption. If your behavior consistently harms others, psychology doesn't defend it. And what about those triggers that keep triggering you? And don't get it twisted. Triggers are very real, especially in PTSD diagnoses. The National Institute of Mental Health describes how reminders of trauma can keep people feeling stressed even when they're no longer in a threatening situation. That's clinical fact. A trigger is a legit nervous system response. But here's what the research doesn't say. It does not excuse what you do next. Yelling, stonewalling, gaslighting, or cruelty after activation is still a choice once the moment passes. Trauma isn't a hall pass. It's a responsibility multiplier. Online, people use triggered to mean I didn't like something or that something pissed me off. Those aren't the same thing. Clinical triggers are involuntary physiological responses to trauma cues. Your discomfort with criticism, valid or otherwise, is not that. Self-diagnosis is not insight. It's avoidance with better branding. Actual clinicians spend years learning to diagnose. TikTok therapists learned from a 60-second video, and now they're diagnosing you in the comments. You're taking mental health advice from people who think narcissist means someone who pissed me off. That's not psychology. That's gossip with a DSM filter. Here's the therapy myth that needs to die. Therapy made me realize this is just how I am. Sorry, Buttercup, but good therapy does the opposite. Real therapy increases accountability, expands behavioral choice, and reduces harm to others. Dialectical behavior. Therapy has deep evidence showing it reduces emotion dysregulation and increases skills use. Cognitive behavioral therapy outcomes show measurable increases in functional coping. Both require putting in real time and real work to make that happen. If someone comes out of therapy less accountable, more entitled, or more toxic, either the therapy failed or the language is being weaponized. And if you're saying your therapist told people to honor your boundaries right after you blew up someone's phone at 3 a.m. over a disagreement, you're either lying or you found a therapist who's as messed up as you are. The core distinction you can't dodge is this: explanation is not absolution. Psychology separates cause from responsibility, understanding from excuse, injury from license. You don't get credit for insight without doing the work of repairing what needs to be repaired. And that repair takes many forms: naming the harm, apologizing without defense, changing your behavior patterns, accepting consequences. You don't get that from a couple of books, a YouTube video, and a few reels you shared with friends so they could, quote, better understand you. You know who pays the price when you weaponize therapy language? The people who loved you before they knew the vocabulary. The friend who stuck around through your worst. The partner who believed you when you said you were trying. They didn't sign up to be your emotional punching bag. They signed up to be human with you. If the only time your trauma comes up is when someone calls you out, you're not healing. You're being an opportunist just waiting for someone to step onto your emotional minefield. Weaponized therapy language destroys trust. It cheapens real mental health care. It makes accountability look optional. Sometimes it creates a false sense of righteousness. Like you can drop a few clinical terms like a Harry Potter spell and whisk away the damage you caused from remaining unhealed. If you can name the pattern, you can interrupt it. If you can explain the wound, you can own the behavior. Psychology doesn't exist to protect your ego. It exists to set it aside and do the work. You can start right now. The person you hurt is still waiting to see if you meant it when you said you were trying. The relationship you're losing can still be saved. If you stop performing accountability and actually be accountable for your shit, you've got the vocabulary, you've got the insight. The only question is whether you're going to use it as a shield or as a tool. One keeps you stuck, one sets you free. Your choice.